friends, welcome to another episode of Refire. I am Pastor Eric Krahansel, and I'm excited that today we have a special guest. Today we have the Reverend William Guy, the pastor of Purpose Church in Magnolia, Delaware. And I'm excited he's here to be able to share with us and talk to us about his experiences through life, but also the experience of starting a new church and how that's been going. So without further ado, let's bring him in and let's bring him on the screen with us. Hello there, sir. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing well. How are you today?
I'm great. So
Excellent.
I think you've just shared with me a little bit previously. You've been in the military as a chaplain for 13 and 6. Well, I'll let you explain that in a second. But then you came out. And what I wanted to ask you about was, how did you end up wanting to start a church? So tell you what, tell us about your background and being a chaplain first.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yep. So in 2009, I joined the Delaware Army National Guard, enlisted. Was enlisted for about 3 years doing communications. And then in 2012 is when I shifted to the chaplain corps. And so I did about 9 years within the Delaware Army National Guard and then shifted over to the Delaware Air National Guard. So in total, it's been 16 years that I've been in the military. 13 of those 16 years have been as a chaplain. And to today, I'm still serving as a chaplain within the Air National Guard.
That's awesome. And so now I know you were starting this church. I think it's been in your head or your dreams. And
Yeah.
probably I'm sorry to mention your wife. I think the name's Tremaine. Is that correct?
Yep,
Okay.
that's right.
And she was on the picture, by the way, that was up before that you didn't see yet. You'll get to see it later. And,
Yeah.
but so tell us, how did the whole idea of the church plant, like when, how many years ago, when did it all start?
Yeah, 2017. I remember the day was Mother's Day. May in 2017. I remember standing in front of the church that we were at that time. At that time, I was serving and that's really the capacity of associate pastor. And just loving on the congregation, preaching the word, impacting the community that we were in. This was in downtown Dover. My heart just began to beat for God. I just want to reach people. I want to see them grow in their relationship with Christ. And that's when the thought of planting a church really came into my heart. But that was 7, 8 years ago. So I started the process, started to get the church incorporated. The name Purpose Church existed way back then. All of the necessary paperwork. We had our first, what I would call vision night / Bible study. And then after that, I just had this thought that came to me that I was out on a limb with not enough support. And to be honest, it scared me. So I quickly went back and said, God, if this is not you, if this is the wrong timing, I have no problem pulling back on this. And that's what I did. And so in 2017, we went back to the church that I was serving as an associate pastor and continued to serve as an associate, eventually as an assistant pastor. And then there was a church within APCOPAD, First Baptist Church of Dover, Delaware, that needed an interim pastor. And so for almost 2 years, I served as the interim pastor at First Baptist Church of Dover, what we call it. And it was during that time that the passion, the drive, the desire to start a church came back. And again, that was about 7 years later that it came back. My wife and I, we sat down and we just asked each other the question, like, what's next? Right. So after I transitioned from interim pastor, do I go back to the church that I was serving as associate assistant? What are we doing? And that's when we sat down and just began to start praying and talking to some people to really get confirmation whether or not starting a church was the thing to do. And that was, the summer of 2024 is when we revisited the idea of starting a church. So about 7 years later.
Wow. So I thought you had started this church in like 2023, but I'm amazed at like how much I've seen and on Facebook, of course, and just the people around you now, and it's awesome. And
Yeah.
so I what I want to ask with that is, you actually you talked about support and how important it was.
Yes.
Can you talk to us about like the team of people you put together? Because I know you had a team, a core team that you started with, and what was that like putting that team together? Who are they?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's amazing. So it's such a diverse group of a team as well. So with me serving as a military chaplain right here, so I support the Dover Air Force Base as a chaplain, and so Dover Air Force Base, of course, Dover, but it's probably about 5 to 10 minutes from Magnolia. And I've really been working full time at Dover Air Force Base as a chaplain for almost 4 years. So that gave me the opportunity to connect with a lot of different people. So some of the folks from the core team are military people. In fact, more than half of the team are persons that's within the Air Force, the reserve, just like me. I'm an Air National Guard, Air Reservist. Then the other ones were a few that was in the community that were really looking for a new, I think, experience. Been in kind of the traditional church for some time, but was looking for something else. Those persons as well. So we started our team to include my wife and I with 8 people. Um, Back in 2017, let's see, my wife, and my 2 kids that didn't have a choice, right? And maybe 2 other people as well. So huge difference in revisiting it 7 years ago. And really this core team just, not jumping ahead, but I would say one of the most important things of a core team is allow them to challenge you, and they challenge me. With me transitioning from interim pastor, initially, I probably wanted to wait almost 2 years before I started a church because I wanted to give space and not seem as if I was jumping from one assignment for God to another one. That was my fear. That was me worried about what people would think. But really having a core team and saying, you know what, no, this is what we've been praying for. We believe that we need to actually move that timeline up and move a little bit quicker because we know what people are looking for. And so to have a core team that are professionals, each and every one of these persons are professionals in their own right, and actually challenging me as well in regards to let's get this thing moving of what God has placed in your heart.
that's awesome because even in the church I'm in, First Baptist Church of Lansdale, there's no way I'll be able to do what I'm doing
No.
without the team of people around me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I think that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Because I was just telling, we were having this conversation before. I know a little bit about church planning because of people that have done church planning. I've never done it, but you hit the nail on the head when you said, it was kind of funny. You said, in 2017, it was you, your wife, and 2 kids, and they had no choice, right? I actually know somebody in that. I know somebody in that boat who literally tried to start a church. It was just them, without support. But then I know somebody else around me here, where I'm located, and he was. I'm not gonna say his name, but a friend of mine, older friend of mine. We talked and chatted for a while, and he actually had a group of people meeting together for like I'm going to say it was a year, and then they finally just launched the church. But it took that kind of time, waiting on the Lord, waiting on building the team, waiting on just knowing, like feeling like, okay, we can put this timeline together now and make this happen.
Yes.
But again, you said something else that's awesome, is that you said they came to you and said, we think we can move this up, make it quicker.
Yes.
That's good because that means that they have buy-in on
Yes.
making it happen.
Yes, indeed.
That's awesome to hear that. And that's a lesson not just for church planning. That's a lesson for ministry or organizations to hear. Like when you get the people to buy in together on something, it can
That's
move. Right. It can move mountains. Really,
That's
amazing
right.
things can happen, which is awesome.
Yes,
So,
that's right. Yeah.
So tell me something. How many months have you been in this now? Like what? A year? It's a year. What is it? Timeline.
Yeah. So I would say in October, we went to the APCOPAD biannual. And
Yeah.
it was at that my wife and I, we really sat down for 2 things. God, please confirm whether or not you want us to do this, start a church. And then number 2, let us know whether or not you want us to be affiliated with APCOPAD. So it was two things in that time up in Altoona. You were mentioning Altoona earlier as well. So it was after that we began to reach out to these core team members and ask them to be a part of what it was that we were doing. So around November of 2024 is when we started having our core team initial meetings, just trying to lay it out. And again, I'm chuckling because for me, I was like, hey, I'm just putting this out there to you guys. I want you to take it and go home and pray over it. And I'm thinking, wow, they're probably going to take a long time to get back with me. But there was a few of them at that initial meeting that said, what's next? And for
Wow.
me, I was like, well, next is you go home and pray. But they had already been praying.
Yeah.
It's just amazing. It's God's work where, it's he's working on someone else while he's working on you, and you meet at this place, and it's never perfect, but it's in unison of what it is that God is doing. So November of 2024 is when we started having our core team meetings, and just, I came with a timeline. I shared with the team as well. Here are my strengths and here are my weaknesses. I love preaching. I love pastoring people. I love, evangelizing, all these different areas. But here are some areas that, I'll do it if I have to, but it's not my strong area. And so what we begin to do, after a while, we were meeting pretty much every week. So November 2024, just meeting every week. And we started putting down, what are your strong areas? And then different people started saying, you know what? I love working with maybe things such as like 501c3 organizational status. Another person say, I love working with finances. Another person says, just let me pray. I'll be the prayer person.
Yeah.
And that's the way we just started working it. And then, as I was saying before, my apologies. I was saying before, is the timeline shifted, where I had it kind of far out there as we started working as a group and the excitement started increasing. We end up bringing the timeline back more and more. So again, November 2024, meeting, establishing. March of 2025 is when we did a vision night. And this is where by then we had the fire hall as our location of where we were going to meet. And we just did an evening of fellowship where it gave me an opportunity to stand in front of people that were there and share with them what Purpose Church was all about. So March 2025 was our vision night. And then April the 13th, 2025, Palm Sunday, was our first church service for Purpose Church. So April 13th, 2025 was our first service in the fire hall, Magnolia.
That's fantastic. I mean, I think that's great. Because I was thinking too, you might be thinking, wow, we went from November to, to April, right? You think that might be fast, but the reality is this has been brewing in you for how many months before? I mean, literally years before, right?
It has.
And it's amazing. It's actually a great testament to God's timing too, because you might have wanted this to happen like 5 years ago, but how God was like, no, I got a plan. Don't worry, just hang in there. Yeah. And and next thing you know, you're like, you got the right people around you that are going to help you, even with the infrastructure stuff, right? Keeping things together.
Yes.
And look, here you are, and it's fantastic. And it's great. And I'll just say this real quick too. I would encourage people to go to Facebook and look at your Facebook page at Purpose Church, because there's some great images of what's been going on there and how you've been starting, and what God's doing there too. So that's fantastic. I think it's, I don't know. I think it's cool, and I think it's such a blessing. And actually, I think you started thinking more about possibly being a part of APCOPAD, probably because I met you folks at the Pastors Retreat last year, so 2024, at Harvey Cedars. So you're already connecting,
Yeah.
And so yeah, so that's awesome. I don't know,
If I can,
great story.
if I can share a little something about that as
Yeah,
well. So
go
yeah,
ahead.
last year. So again, at that time last year at Harvey Cedars, I was serving as interim pastor at First Baptist Church, and amazing experience. But it was during that time that I even began to seek God. What's next? And it was at that pastor's retreat, pastors and spouse retreat at Harvey Cedars, that I threw my hands up.
Hmm.
And I guess that was what, June maybe of last year, something like that.
Yeah, yes.
So that I threw my hands up and I said, God, whatever it is that you want to do, you know, I'm, I'm tired of trying to figure it out on my own, thinking that this must be it. This must be it. And it was during that time. So when you say that God was already brewing, that the church plant was already, you're correct. Because I was walking with my daughter and looking at my journal, and it was around May, April of that time that we went to Harvey Cedars that I started writing down, is Purpose Church still a thing? Or is it something else? Is it still a thing? So you're right. But yeah, that pastor's retreat did a lot for me, and it helped move me in this direction.
You know,